I'm telling you, you can't enjoy the art of this music until you understand the business. I hated it at first.
But I think that can, that can be a blessing and curse for us because, we serve, when we produce and we serving the artist.
There really isn't a secret to it other than just continuing to move. And when it's your time, take your moment and make the most of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when it's gonna be.
First thing is, I want to go back to the experience with Dr. Dre. Yo, what up? It's your boy More for More Beats, and this is another episode of the Showlab Producer Podcast. Man, today I got something special. A long-time friend. I want to say maybe about 6-7 years.
About, let me see, 24, about 6, 7.
Yeah. When I first met Jay, I think it was through Machine Masters.
Yeah. We
just kind of connected. When I first met him, he had just did his book, These Beats Ain't Free. That was the slogan. That's been a motto for a long time. That was his first book. And actually, man, he was one of the sponsors for my first producer conference that I did in South by Southwest. So we got some history, man. I had him on the podcast before, but I reached out to him since I was in Dallas and asked him would he honor me with his presence since he highballing and stuff. My man J.Rhodes, he's an author. He's a producer. He's an author. He just got his Grammy certificate for producer on the Michael album. He is a director. He got a film called King of Dallas, and he got a TV series called The House of Beats. The first season is already out on YouTube and on Tubi. But the second season is going to be coming out as well, right?
Yes. Second season, third seasons. The second season has been a little bit delayed for reasons that we'll get to. But I'm gonna get as soon as King of Dallas drops, and then my book is coming right after that. Then I can fully focus on editing and getting House of Beats season 2 out.
Okay. So with all that being said, I want to welcome my homeboy J.Rhodes to the show. How you doing, brother?
Man, how you doing? Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for having me, brother. And I know y'all probably can't see it, but man, his studio setup is it's homey. It's the atmosphere is pretty chill. Just looking at all the pictures. Look, I see the scratch magazines. I still got some of my scratch magazines.
Yeah, I think I got almost every one of those. But the those that know about scratch magazines.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
If you know,
man,
you know.
I when they first came out, it was I think it came out 2003, 2004. But I lost some in Hurricane Katrina. But I still got a stack of them up in my attic. I still got my collection. But anyway, man.
Did you did you come down here after Katrina?
Yeah. We came to Texas after Katrina.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, man. So we've been here 18, 19 years now.
Man, that's crazy that it's been that long.
Yeah, man. Yeah, almost 20 years.
That's crazy.
But man, again, man, thank you for tapping in with your boy, man. I know a lot of people may be familiar with him. For those that may not be familiar with you, Jay, just run it down. What you do and all this stuff, man.
I'm J.Rhodes, man. I'm from Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff to be exact. I tell people, and this is something I've said ad nauseum, but it's just the truth about my career. I say that music production is the root of my career tree.
Yeah.
Everything that I do, whether it's film, whether it's being an author, whether it's being a public speaker, a professor, it all stems from my love of music production.
Yeah.
You know, and from that love of music production, I have branches. So those branches are, like my film. Those branches are, my artistry, etc.
Yeah.
So like just to familiarize people with who I've been blessed to produce for. Let me see, been Slim Thug, Rick Ross, Waka Flocka, Lecrae. Have a lot of records and things with Talib Kweli, Jadakiss, Styles P. got in the studio and produced some stuff with Dr. Dre. Will it ever come out?
Yeah.
You never know, but I do. You know, at least I'm blessed to be able
to. I mean, you don't get no bigger than
you don't
get no bigger than that.
For him to really like the music that I was producing and do a song there on the spot, and me to experience that whole Dr. Dre moment. Was beautiful, and it's cool, and I still can listen to that song. Hopefully it comes out one day, but if not, I can listen to that every day and be proud that, you know, one of my you know, just one of the GOATs in the game really rock with my music. The 3-time Grammy Award winning project Michael, I was blessed to be a producer on. Co-produced the record, with my partner DJ Menace. And the cool thing about that record, not only was it a part of the Grammy Award winning, 3-time Grammy Award winning Michael project, already in its you know, infancy stages, it's continuing to be you know, synced. Like, it started out on Madden, I think that was 22 before the album even dropped, so it's done that. We've got a lot of sync opportunities with upcoming movies that have hit the email, so it's cool, the life of that song. And, you know, man, it's a beautiful way to, you know, get a Grammy certificate, man. It's just like making some music with your homie, doing what you love to do, and for it to be a part of such a monumental, groundbreaking, historic project, that's nothing but God's work, and I'm thankful for that. Who else? I mean, I produce, you know, you say the names that you know people are gonna be familiar with,
right?
But I'm proud of all the production I've done, whether it's or the work I've done, period. Whether it's been stuff that I've put out, whether it's been stuff like a lot of indie artists have worked on. I've produced a lot of the music that I've loved, and it's done great things. So from that, I think the thing that I'm doing now that I really love the most is filmmaking. I think film is a talent dump for all of your talents, whether it's your writing, your comedic timing, getting into acting. I edit video, and I think my video editing skills rival my beat making skills now. I'm very, especially in long form content like movies and things like that, I really have an eye for editing. So you can do that. You can bring people together. I think I'm a natural leader and connector of people, and get people to, like, you know, row the boat. And I'm a leader in the sense that I don't like crack the whip and tell people what to do so much. Is like I kind of try to pull the card and they get on with it. And that's big on the film, you know. So that's why I love film. I love the community. I love what it does. So anyway, my first film that was in the USA Today is one of the films to see of 2021. It's a Wonderful Plight. You can see that on Amazon now, or it's on Tubi now, because it's been out for a couple of years. But It's a Wonderful Plight. It was a hip hop music, historic. To me, historic. It was the first film that did a lot of cool things. And now King of Dallas will be coming out sometime very soon in 2024. It was a project 3.5 years in the making, from conceptualizing it to like writing it, one script, throwing that script away, writing another one, gathering the people, editing. One hard drive crash, you try to recover, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm excited that the people will get to see that film. So once that film hits the people, we'll re-up and we'll start working on another film. Also, These Beats Ain't Free, how you mentioned you met me and were introduced to me. The second installment of that book that came out in 2015, These Dreams Ain't Free. It's These Beats Ain't Free Part 2, but you know, we kind of stepping it up to you know, reach. It's hitting the niche group of music producers, but we also are kind of expanding just to dreamers in general. But that's coming out soon. Like, I'm almost got one more proofread on that. I'm gonna record the audio book, which should take a day, and that's going out to the people. So I'm excited for them to, you know, for that to come out as well. Like we said, House of Beats Season 2 will be coming out this year as well. So a lot of big projects. I'm really big. I need to figure my short form content, which mainly would just be promoting my long form content. But, I got a lot of big projects that are coming out, and I know I'm rambling, but it's a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah, a lot of projects to work on. If I'm missing something, hopefully we'll cover it in this interview.
Well, man, I wanna backtrack on a couple of things, man. The first thing is, I wanna go back to the experience with Dr. Dre. I mean, I know that had to be a surreal moment, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, when you think about Dre, You know, when you think about Dr. Dre, it's like one of the forefathers of music production, man.
Yeah.
So, man, how was that experience? I mean, how did the opportunity come about? What was that experience like? Just what was that for me?
For sure, it's crazy. So I have a real good relationship with the DOC,
Right.
And short story long, as I say, he was working on some stuff with Dr. Dre. He told me to flip the Busta Rhymes "Hands Where Your Eyes Can See" sample. I forget the name of the group. It's in the back of my mind, but I flipped it and I put one of my styles is like tribal ethnic drums, and he.
So you flipped the original sample.
The original sample.
Oh man, they name on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I can hear it. I can actually see the album cover.
Me too. It's two white dudes. I think. But I forget the name, and forgive me for that.
Crosby. No.
There we go. It's something of the sort, bro. Something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
And so I flipped that, kind of made it a slower vibe with the tribal stamp. And the vocal sample.
Yeah, that's your signature sound.
Yeah,
tribal samples.
So I flipped that, and he was like, "Man, you awoke the ancestors with this one." His DOC voice, and he sent it to Dre, and he was like, "Man, Dre likes it."
Yeah.
And that was cool enough. I was like, "That's dope." And so he was like, "Hey, can you send me a pack? I'm going to LA." And when he said it, I was like, "Man, I just so happen to will be in LA. I just so happen to will be in LA whenever you there." Now the honest truth is, like, I was buying my flight, which is there, because I'm like, man, I think I'm ready to meet the man, at this point. I think that's the kind of session that I'm ready for. I was prepped for. And he was like, he was like, all right, so I'll let you know. And mind you, he has a great relationship with Dre, so he knows the ins and outs of how to do. I mean, so he was just schooling me, and I think the reason I knew it was going to work, because typically a lot of, for me, has happened every time I went to LA. But sometimes when things didn't happen, it was because I always forced the issue. I'd be on the plane with so much angst, like, "Ooh, if this don't work out," my life, just really caring about things and having this anxiety. But this time I didn't have it. It was during COVID too.
Yeah.
So Texas was decently open. LA was shut down.
Yeah.
But getting to the point, my focus wasn't even on the outcome. I was just like, hey, I'm proud of my career. What's happened? This is a great opportunity. Let's just see what's up.
Right.
So any way that it went, I was gonna be cool with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I flew down. LA was just a ghost town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but it was chill. It still was chill.
Yeah.
Met Doc at I think it was the Hollywood Hotel, not the Hollywood Hotel, the Beverly Hills Hotel. We went through an extensive session of playing beats. I'm talking about stuff that I would play for people and they be wild, but Doc Ear, mind you, he's been with Dr. Dre for like 3 decades. So when I tell you it was picky, and I'm like, man, they gotta be some heat. I'm talking about out of about 50 things we played that typically floors the listeners. Not that he didn't like it, but we picked about 5 to 10 that he thought Dre would want to listen to, and we ordered it in a way to where the best one going first, because if you don't like it, you may not get another chance.
Right.
But it wasn't no pressure for me. I think in that sense, I know I put in 30,000 plus hours into my craft.
Right.
So I knew I knew I was ready, and I knew that, like, once we decided that this was my best beat, that my best beat would be impressive. So that's the feeling that I felt.
Yeah.
So on the way to the mansion, we was riding up there. And it's a lot of little details in the story, but getting to the point, we finally make it to the house after this gated community that we had to get buzzed in for. It's a moat at the house, all kind of crazy. And I'm not a materialistic person, but it was cool to see the grandeur of the place, just for the simple fact that it wasn't like, hey, be materialistic, but it was a statement of stay on your path, and being excellent at what you do can get you this.
Yeah.
It was cool to see.
Yeah.
And so as we walk across the moated, place to his crib,
right.
you know what I mean? It's like Italy, man. Somebody singing and swimming.
Wow.
And I'm just, it's crazy. But anyway, so I hear a voice that I've heard my whole life. But I never get starstruck, because I've been in the studio with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing to be starstruck or whatever. But I did I did get a lot of like butterflies and crazy feelings, and I had to really, really compose myself.
Yeah.
Because this is the voice that I've heard since I was in single digits. Like, "Yo, what up, DOC?" And I'm like, that's my horrible Dr. Dre impression.
Yeah.
I'm like,
man,
that's Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And people have a lot of, he was very gracious. We got to meet his, his son, his daughter, and they was cool. But we go in there, he takes us to the studio. And the cool thing that I tell people more than anything, more than the studio being the dopest studio, one of the dopest studios I've ever seen, it was cool to see it downstairs in this compound. But the biggest thing that really was impressive to me was the snack selection. Because, bro, I think the coolest thing was that when you go to Dr. Dre's studio, whatever you need is there.
Wow.
Are you a drinker? The finest of liquors. Are you a coffee person? You know what I'm saying? That's me. If I'm like, at least, if I'm in the studio and I need to go, I'm gonna get some coffee. So that's there. Food, literally, before we even get to work, I promise you, it's almost like I had a Prince. Remember when Prince was serving like Charlie Murphy and them pancakes? It was a moment like that I talk about, but it was a moment. He was like, I promise you, he was like, "Hey, J.Rhodes, you want some tacos?" And so I was like, yo, and I'm looking over there as he talking to Doc. I'm like, I'm typically I'm a good person. I was like, I want some tacos. I'm telling you, seriously, the next second is somebody over there taking an order like chicken or beef. It's no games.
Wow.
I promise. And anybody that goes in the studio, ask the people that live in there. Like, I just been in there once, but like maybe you talk to Focus or give joint to somebody. Somebody that's in there.
That's all the time.
I promise you they can validate what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I believe
it. So then, the tacos are super solid. And man, it's just, we finally get to, it's a lot of little things that are going on, and I'm trying, it's already a long story. I'm trying to make the story
man, you good.
as short as possible, because it's so
I think it's good to hear,
with.
man, because, man, the whole purpose of the podcast is to give people the hope to be like, you know what, man, it's possible that I can be in this room too.
Yeah.
Cause let me tell you something. When I seen you post a picture on Instagram, I didn't also say, man, my boy made it. I said, man, we made it.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I said, man, my boy up in the studio with Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Up.
So, man, look, I'm sitting here like, man, this can really happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, no, bro, don't be tripping on the time unless you on the time.
No, I'm not. I'm here. So I can, and then so it of course it'll be a lot of different versions of it in the sense of length, like maybe you got your short, you got your medium, you got your long. But anyway, so like it but getting back to the point, it was just a lot of cool things happening. Like DOC was shooting some stuff for his documentary.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see that.
It was cool, and Puma was there. The child that he has.
Yeah.
She's a grown woman, but the child that he has with Erica was there.
Yeah, okay.
And Dr. Dre was also talking to her. And it was cool. And another cool tidbit: the team that shot The Last Dance for Michael Jordan was the same team that was shooting Doc's documentary.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm a film person too. So I'm also,
you nerd out at the same time.
Stuff. I'm seeing, them shooting. I think they had red camera, just stuff. I'm like, man, I'm learning a lot of cool things from all aspects. So, me and Dre, we have a cool talk once it's my turn, and he takes me in his room with keyboards. He's like, hey, can you play? I'm like, man, I can play for producing, but I can't play like that. He was like, okay, so you like me then. He gets on the piano and plays Bach or Beethoven or some shit. And I'm like, mind you, my key game is not like that. I can play for production, but I'm like, nah, you can play. So, and then he plays me some stuff from, you guys can say the album that probably would never come out. But he plays some stuff from that. It's immaculate. I hope, man, it's so many iterations of songs from that project, but it was cool to hear just some of the stuff he plays. He plays it at ridiculously loud levels. Anybody that knows the Dr. Dre lore, it's the loudest music you'll ever hear. Says he loves hearing to that crazy loud level. So I'm glad I passed that test. Being able to handle that. But yeah, man, so, he says, finally, he's like, okay, so let's press play on your music. So I press play, and it's the first joint, and he started bobbing his head, and he was like, yeah, I like that. And at that point, That's all I needed from a session. I didn't know what was gonna come from that.
Yeah.
But it's more like, up to that point, you get validation in a lot of ways, whether it's money, whether it's plaques, whether it's awards, etc. And that's cool. But to get the validation from a GOAT and somebody that made between Dr. Dre and Timbaland, and then Pharrell later, and maybe some other people too, but I think those are the ones on my brain. That's the reason that I really wanted to be a producer.
Wow.
So when you get that kind of validation, it's just more like, that's just something extra that's gonna stick with you forever.
Yeah.
So that was crazy, and I'm just like, he was like, man, you got a little time to, stick around and create. I was like, hell, I said my exact words. I was like, hell yeah, like, I don't have nothing else to do. This is the reason why I flew down here.
Yeah.
And so, man, he gave me a lot of cool opportunities. Like, he was like, hey, do you work in Pro Tools? I'm like, honestly, no. I ain't even like, the session in Pro Tools, I can't run that session. So in 15 minutes, he put out a back signal. An engineer comes through to handle the session. And he was like, hey, do you write? I'm like, yeah, I write. So I wrote something. He even gave me a chance to be on the mic and, try to like put something down to it.
Wow.
And it was cool. Like, they didn't go with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he got on the mic, and I'm telling you, people are like, well, Dr. Dre's not a writer. Now, Dr. Dre is an artistic genius because I saw it in real time.
Yeah.
He's going to do whatever it takes to get the best song possible.
Yeah.
He got on it. There was no pen to paper. He was on the mic. He was doing something. He put something down. Hey, you like that? DOC like, hey, how about you do this?
Right.
Then somebody else like, hey, let's do this.
Right.
And they're just going back and forth, recording in real time, no pen, no paper.
Right.
Collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And Dre is definitely like, people don't think he's a writer in the sense of like, oh, I'm Jay-Z, I'm writing, or oh, I'm,
Right.
a ghostwriter, whatever. But he literally is a part of that creative process, and he's like the composer of it all.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see. Like, I saw that process in real time, and they made like a super cool joint.
Right. Man, even to that point, like, I'm sitting here thinking, because that always been a conversation if Dr. Dre was a writer or somebody to write stuff for him. But man, like, this brother here has paid his dues, because if I'm going back to the movie, and if the movie was accurate like it was, for him to be able to coach Eazy-E bar by bar on how to sing this, to rap this song, because Eazy wasn't a rapper nor a writer. You know what I'm saying? But he literally punched in every 96, them 96 bars, and I'm like, man, and so we giving Dr. Dre flack on about being a ghost, having a ghost writer, when you got this guy here, this gentleman, this genius, produced Eazy as a rapper.
Yeah.
And look, and that's just that one song that we see in the movie. Eazy had a whole album of songs. So man, I mean, I think when it comes to that, yeah, when it comes to the conversation of Dr. Dre having a ghostwriter, so I think, man, that is out the window. Because
yeah, it has to be, bro, because I think, especially when you look at it, I do a lot of sports analogies.
Yeah.
He's even more, you have, let's just say if writers, that's specifically writers, if they're players, if like they're 3-point specialists, or people that got hops or whatever, that's a specific thing. But Dr. Dre is like, from my experience in this session, is like the coach of it all, like the Phil Jackson, like seriously, like knowing everything that it takes to, if the song and the best possible song is the W, he knows what it takes to put this in place and this in place to get the W. And he has skills in every aspect. It's, of course, the production and putting it all together, but he's he really is the maestro of the session. It was cool to see, see that process. It's a creative process that really is beautiful and free flowing, and that's how like you have so many classics were made from that process. Wow. So that was cool to see. I got sent the session that we finished on because the session got cut short because it was Warren G's birthday.
Right.
And it was almost like, a producer Cinderella story, bro. It was Warren G's birthday. So then we cut that session short to go kick it at Snoop's compound. Yeah. And so, I went over there, and Dr. Dre was even over there working on some stuff. And I was just chilling, meeting a lot of West Coast legends and stuff. And so that was cool.
Man.
And so we finished up there, and then just to like, then 2 days later, I was in the studio just, kicking it and vibing with Too Short.
Yeah.
My homie, met my homie Big Hood, and he just, we pulled up there.
Yeah.
And that was cool. But I think to wrap it all up, I think, like I say, the coolest thing that came out of that session was on my flight home.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was God reminded me that even though I made it to this point and this was cool, I was going to make my mark in the world and in the industry by my own brand.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about after this wonderful session,
Mm-hmm.
I get in the airport, then I get an email, and it's an email from the track that I produced for Lecrae, Welcome to America.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Amazon letting us know that the Regina King film, directed film, produced film, whatever, one of them, One Night in Miami was requesting a sync.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like getting on that plane and about to get on that plane and getting it, and it was gonna be a crazy amount. Just my percent was tens of thousands of dollars. You know? So it was just more like, at the end of the day, this is cool, this is great. You've reached a level to where you can work with Dr. Dre. You've reached a level to where you can be in these places. But don't forget that your brand is what got you. Don't forget that your brand and working on your music and the things that you've done has gotten you, your acclaim and its payday, etc. So that was a cool bow on a very cool session to remind me to keep doing my thing, and that's the reason why I was able to do the other things.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful, bro. Yeah. That is beautiful, man. And man, I want to say this too, man. Shout out to Warren G.
Yeah,
man. Look, I think there's I think when we look at the celebrities and stuff, and we see them online, it's like that's the farthest you see them. That's the farthest you may get to them. It's just seeing their pictures and stuff. Mm-hmm. But man, I mean, even myself, me and Warren G got a good relationship.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? He reached out to me because of what I was doing on the iPad.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? But and then what happened? We never could get around to me actually teaching him. Mm-hmm. Me getting with him to teach him. But then he was like, "Yo, man." He started seeing that I was making samples and stuff, and he's like, "Yo, man, can you make personal packs for me?"
That's what's
you know
up.
What I'm saying, and then just building that relationship that way, man. And my point of saying that is, even how you had access to DOC, you know what I'm saying, a legend in the game. Even and now, granted, he's in your hometown, but being able to say, yeah, man, me and DOC, we tight like that. Yeah. And then that go from there to there. Man, I just think that, sometimes that is a misconception that when you look at, when it comes to celebrities like that, they're not reachable. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's beautiful, man. I think even in the space that Dr. Dre is in, you know what I'm saying, for him to be able to say, man, J.Rhodes, what kind of tacos you want? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a moment for me.
That's a moment, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then also getting back on the plane and getting that phone call about this is a welcome to America. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now, just that reminder, hold on. That's good. That was man. Look, that moment was set up for you to grasp all that.
Yeah.
But then getting back to what you called to do, I think that's beautiful.
That
bro.
was a beautiful moment, bro.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think the Lord was just showing me, just speaking to me in that way, and it was just like, you're reaching these highs, things you dreamed about. Like sometimes we got to realize that we're living in a prayer that we prayed years ago. Yeah. So it's like, we're praying for new things now, but take a second to really be thankful that the prayer that you prayed, you're living in. And so that moment took place, and then the moment with me being brought back, like, hey, the stuff that you put in for yourself is what brought you here. Yeah. And so that was cool. But then I need to give you your flowers right now too, because something that you may not know that you should know is not only like, I think the joint, the Never Fight an African joint that I did with Styles P, if we're talking about loops, that was one of your drum loops that set that track off. Yeah. I have another one with Styles P, Really Us, that was your drum loops that set it off.
Wow.
And the joint that Dr. Dre loved, that I think is one of my best beats ever, is also one of your drum loops that
Oh
set
man,
it
you
off.
got to let me hear that.
Yeah, I gotta let you hear this. So it's like
Lord.
I need to, like, at the same time, like, as producers, you produce a lot of ways. Like, a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
love my drums. That's cool.
Yeah.
But what I do as a producer, I don't limit myself. If like,
Right.
if you send me something and I like the drums,
Yeah.
my pride doesn't say, ooh, let me. I'm like, nah, them drums is dope.
Yeah.
Let me do something creative over the top. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think for producers too, don't stifle your creativity trying with your ego.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll play my own stuff.
Right.
Sometimes I may make something that sounds like a sample. Sometimes I may do the whole track top to bottom.
Yeah.
Sometimes with, a lot of the things that I have, sometimes it may be a loop that inspires something.
Yeah.
And you just build on top of it. Like,
Yeah.
just know that don't stifle your creativity, and then give people their flowers for the things. Like,
Yeah.
I've created a lot of things a lot of different ways, but I want the world to know, and I want you to know, that some of those tracks, and my biggest track, not even biggest track in the sense of sales, because ain't nobody even heard it.
Right.
But the track that was part of my most memorable moment,
Yeah.
it was a collaboration of ours.
Oh
And
man,
it definitely it was a collaboration of ours.
man, thank you, bro.
You're welcome, bro.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you didn't. I didn't think about it. Like, it was
Wow.
we even indirectly we make some dope music. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I love the way you do your
man,
thing.
thank you for that.
Nah,
bro.
you got it, bro.
Man,
It's all love.
Man, I want to go. I want to remember, keep this thought too, man. With the whole "Welcome to America," let's talk about S1, because that was a collaborative effort
sure.
too, right? What's your relationship with S?
That's my big bro forever.
Yeah,
I think it was a time where, like, it was cool because me and S1's relationship is like when I came back from college. I heard a few names. He was one of the names that I heard. That's when I was like, hey, I'm like about 22, 23. I'm like, man, I'm gonna do this. Man, that's a long time ago, because I'm 41 now, but they show you the time.
Yeah.
And so the first beat battle I ever went to, it was my homie Ness. I forget the other dude's name. I think
Was it an I Standard joint?
Nah, it wasn't even I Standard. It was
okay.
something that a producer named Rob Victim from here, he was putting on. And so it was Rob Victim put it on. It was S1. It was a producer named Soul Wonder and my homeboy named Ness. And I think to that point, S1 had won a lot times in a row. And I think Ness ended up winning it, but I remember I was there and I just was blown away by their beats. I was blown away by just the culture, because people don't know. I think it's like chilled a little bit, but I think the Dallas producer culture, I will put
It's big.
Dallas producers against any producers.
Bruh, let me tell you something. Not to cut you off, but I'm telling you, when I was working with Machine Masters, and me and AG would be on the phone, and they knew they had a gang of producers up in the East and stuff. I said, always tell AG, I said, bruh, I said, the demographic of producers is down south, i.e. Dallas. Dallas. I said, bro, that's where the producer hub that. And I think maybe that's how y'all probably kind of
connected one way.
Connected, because I said, man, bro, the producer community in Dallas is huge, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And just to think, when I think about it, when you said that, man, it is a huge producer community here.
It's crazy. And so that started there. Like, and so I was just like, man, I kind of aspired to do certain things. And then, a guy named Picnic was on the scene at that point too. It was just a cool scene. And so I would follow him. And that's when Von, I remember Von, then he had, Von was like 12, 11.
Oh, yeah, he was killing it too.
Yeah, he was killing it then too. So it's like S would do something, like he'd win a beat battle or something, and next year I would win it. So I was kind of like, in essence, following in his footsteps.
Yeah.
And then he'd do something, I'd do something. And it was just kind of like, you following that path.
Yeah.
Then he got worked with an artist named Kanye West and made a beat called Power.
Yeah.
Like, it was quiet for a minute, then all of a sudden it was like, oh.
Right.
It was like, oh, that's crazy. I was like, I can't jump up there and do that. Like, so I was just like, more, but just, it was cool to see. And so, after he was doing this thing, he got settled, and I was the first producer to be signed to his imprint.
Yeah.
And that was cool because I'm telling you, like, my biggest perk and strength as a producer, more than anything, I wouldn't even, people like my drums, I wouldn't say it's my drums, people like the way I flip samples or the creative thing. At the end of the day, I think it's just ideas.
Yeah.
And just having an idea or a theme. I don't think I just make beats so much as I make, like, vibes, you know, and I try to take people to places. So I had a lot of dope ideas and we would collab on stuff, but he would show me how to maximize those ideas, you know, with your drums and getting them out in certain things. So we would collab on a lot of things, and there's, you know, versions that I was seeing, and then it was versions that he did his thing on. And I think a lot of my style now is learning from some of those things that he did, you know. So it was a cool experience. It was like idea boot camp. Because I just really hunkered down, and all of my ideas, you know, even if it was stuff that was potentially, you know, gonna go on my album that I thought was gonna change. I'm just gonna send it to S. I was just sending stuff to S. And so we worked on a lot of cool, dope music, man. Like most of it was remote, you know, because he was busy doing his thing. I was, you know, doing my thing, sending the stuff. But so that's how we built it. And he really exposed my sound and things, and got my taught me a lot about the business too. Him and Teresa, like a lot of producers.
Shout out to Teresa.
I think a lot of producers have awful experiences, and I've had some, but due to, like, you know, their lawyer Matt and the way that they came up with certain things, I expect to get paid. I know how to get paid. I know how much I'm supposed to get paid. I know about publishing, et cetera. I know about these things because you know, they would set it up. They took a fair percentage, very fair. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, we would just reap the benefits of these things. And I learned a lot about the business, you know. And so I have to give a shout out to, because before this, just all about access. And it's like, you know, any level of access that somebody is able to give you, you know what I'm saying, you have to be thankful for.
For sure,
Because I think even to my point now, like I tell people, my music is definitely a part of the industry, because as I'm writing my second book, I look at some of the S years, and then I look at some of the stuff post that, and what I'm doing, like, I've been doing a lot. When you add up, I'm like, man, I produce for a lot of people. Man, I've done a lot of things, and working with S1 and SKP, that opened up a lot of doors for my music. I'd say that my music is a part of the industry, but I'm not. Like, because my music is all up in there, working with so many people. Man, and it's just more like it's a separation though, and that's cool with me. You know what I mean? I think my music, the way it is, will always find its way. Even if, you know, I've met some of the artists I've worked with, some of them I haven't, but my music, even if I'm not present, through just, I think the strength of it is going to find its way somewhere, and it's going to make an impact. So yeah, that all started, you know, say with SKP and S1 opening up that door to the industry, you know what I'm saying, that I didn't have access to.
And S1 is a good dude too, man. He is a good dude. I had him and Vaughn on the podcast.
That's dope.
A long time ago, man. And I first learned about S1, man. He used to put out these beat tapes. He used to put out these beat tapes. He was with the group Strange Fruit. He was with Strange Fruit. And then he used to put out these beat tapes, man. And I first got to meet him. Our standard was doing like a producer joint at the studio. What's the name of the studio? The music studio. The studio. It's like a school.
Media Tech.
Media Tech. They was doing a joint, and what happened? I met him, but I said I'm gonna surprise him, because he was one of the speakers or whatever that was at the event, and I was outside. I had Machine Masters had a booth out there. And I'm just, you know, I'm doing my thing, you know, posting up for Machine Masters, but I was playing joints too. I said, man, I'm gonna play his beat tape. And he was like, man, I don't even have that beat tape anymore.
That's
you know what I'm
crazy.
saying? So I think we connected there, and then Miss Teresa, his wife, she hooked up the opportunity for me to be able to do the podcast and stuff, man. But he's a real good dude, man.
Yeah, he's one of the best, man. And it's it's just you know, when you really think about it, it was a blessing to learn in that season. Because I'm just in such a better place now. But even then, all I cared about was placement, this, and this. So it was a very rough time for me, because I was making great music. I was working so hard. But you got to think about it. For every idea that hit, it was about 30 that didn't. It was sometimes some of the stuff, some songs maybe got to Kendrick, they didn't get released. It just was a lot. It was a time where, you know, My mind wasn't just on like, hey, wherever it goes, it goes. I was just like, I gotta this, gotta that.
Right.
So it was a rough time in the sense of just really. I mean, it was the grind. It was the grind of really making that happen. So it was a lot of focus on making things happen, but everything happened like it was supposed to.
Right.
Every joint that we landed was monumental. Like even the Blood Diamonds joint that we landed with the game, that was a last minute half court shot. They wasn't even thinking about putting it on the album until they heard it.
Yeah.
And I think every song, like, and it set the tone for how my sound is.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, like, I do at one point, I want a Billboard #1 mindless hit.
Right.
I do. Like, I ain't trying, I just want something crazy. I don't care if it's right. I just because I want one of those.
Right.
But naturally, my music really like brings out the thought-provoking side of any artist that is hit.
Yeah.
Like, cause even with Game, he made a song called Blood Diamonds, talk about the diamond conflict. We heard our song, like with Royce when it came to Tabernacle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He wrote, it was his first song he wrote when he was coming out of sobriety.
Right.
You know, or was coming out of alcoholism into sobriety, and he rapped about his son being born, him meeting Eminem, and him losing his grandma on the same day. Like, you know, that type of song. Man, like Welcome to America from Lecrae. I think either between Coming In Hot and Welcome to America, I would think that even Welcome to America is maybe his highest money track, like as far as all the syncs and placements we got.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Welcome to America, like this song about 3 different perspectives of this country, et cetera, or something. Every song that we make, I mean, I know it's some other ones, but every song that we make is like a monumental type of epic type of feel song. And like even with Welcome to America, the first sync placement that we missed on, it was going to go on the Selma album. But and it was crazy. It was a last minute no, and that's when I started learning how the industry works, because I think at the last minute, Common and John Legend said, hey, we can make a song for this. And that song ended up winning the Oscar between Ron Fest and them. But Welcome to America was in the runs for that.
Yeah.
And then it was just on so many monumental things. So I know of some other tracks that we've made that have also, you know what I'm saying, fits the bill of just some great songs that we created. But I think from that point on, the songs that I make really are thought-provoking, and they're a part of great projects with messages. Like even just me for you know, for the Yes joint, like that track, that foundation was laid, but then, you know, when I came in and I think took the A project to an A+, like it was cool to not have, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of that. But I mean, it's a part of Mike's 3-time Grammy winning project, and it's getting synced and stuff. So I like the music that I make and how it affects the artist, whether I meet them or not. Some of them I got to meet, some of them I haven't, but I like the kind of music that I make and the feeling that I create or I'm a part of in the studio, it translates to the artist. But with that being said, I do, and it don't even have to be mindless. I'm just saying I do want just, you know, to have it on my belt too. I do want one of those, you know what I'm saying, big hits that kind of can, you know what I'm saying, be fun and stuff as well. But I'm not chasing that. But I'm saying, like, if I can add that to what I'm already doing, that would be cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's, for the lack of better words, something on your bucket list.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I want you to speak to the thought of just the whole chasing, the placements and stuff, because I know you said that when you first started out, that was always the objective, man. I gotta get on this and get in this. And the reason I want you to speak to it is, man, because, you know, they still have, they have a, you know, that's a producer dream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when you come out, man, I got to get this, I got to get this. Can you speak to the pros and cons to that? You know what I'm saying?
More cons than you think. I even say, and I don't want to be one of those people, but now since I'm gonna be one of those people since I'm getting into you know, book promo mode.
Yeah.
I talk about this extensively in my book.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, it's 3 steps to a track, to me, really mattering and really having an effect. It's, did you get paid up front for it? Did you get credited for it? That means, does the artist who you're working with in the placement appreciate you? And is your publishing and stuff and is your business in order for you to get paid after it?
Yeah.
So if three things don't meet that criteria, then the placement isn't a home run, no matter who it's with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took me a minute, but I'm more like at this point, I just want to create great art, and chasing placements is putting your career in somebody else's hands.
Yes.
And so you have to find things that are for you. Like seriously, once I get certain things, like movies come out, etc., those are things that are for me, and those are the things that really can brand you and separate you.
Yeah.
Chasing placements only it can't separate you. It can it's a different industry. It's so many ways to get your name out.
Right.
To me, if you want to be anything in this industry, you have to find a way to reach your maximum potential, even if you're, and I don't say just to produce a negative, because some of the best, most influential people focus on production.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, if you want to just do that, you have to brand yourself the way Metro Boomin is doing it.
Right.
Him and Future, somebody drop. They are the artists, because as a producer, you drive this industry so strong. You want to get to a point to where you are an artist and you can create and build your own sound.
Yes.
Like just solely waiting, no matter what the artist is, on for somebody to release something or do something, whatever, that will cause stress to your soul.
Oh yeah.
And so I learned that over time, like, and then there's so many different places where money is actually there and more prevalent than just placement chasing. You'll starve just trying to wait for somebody to put something out. So nah, I wouldn't, it's cool. I would say that definitely should be a thing, and it's always cool to work with an artist, but the biggest thing in anything is a relationship. I think in this industry where, you know, so much stuff is going to technology, the biggest disappointment for me has been the lack of relationship.
Yes.
And that's big. Like, you can have placements with people, and that's cool, and it's not even a knock, but it's almost like, you know, your work is there, you know what I'm saying, your kids have gone off to their college or working for them, but oftentimes, you know, not that you just got to be cool with everybody or this, that, and the third, but I think, especially once you show people how creative you are, once you show people you can do, the biggest thing to me is if you're able to foster a relationship with anybody, you know? And that's, for me, that's what I'm on, because I've learned that there's bigger paydays than just getting a placement.
Yeah, man.
Way bigger paydays.
Yes.
So it's like, sometimes to feed your family, you get this placement, and sometimes, most of the time, just due to how I was brought up in this industry, I'm gonna get my money.
Right.
But there have been some instances where some of the placements you get, people don't even know, like, you're fighting to get your just due with it. And anybody got no time for that.
Yeah.
It's so many. So my biggest thing is good energy and good vibes. It's worth it if it has that, but if it doesn't have that, I've seen people get placements with some big artists, but if the artist doesn't pay them, if the artist doesn't shout them out, if the artist doesn't appreciate them, and if their business wasn't done right on the back end, you just got used. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. So my thing is, you have to have those three things in order, and then the placement can be valid. And I can talk all day on that, but it's just more, man.
So that gives me another thought then. So that means that if those three things are not intact, that means producers should be educated.
Yeah.
I think that's and I think there's, you know, we got a lot of producers, but a lot of producers lack the education, business aspect of it. Hey man, look, I think in these last 10 years, I want to say 9-10 years, especially after COVID and things changed, man, I have been more adamant on, okay, I need to make sure, I got to make sure this publishing is straight. I need to see the split sheets.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff is important to me now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I'm even thinking about, as I get older, man, I don't want, you know, man, look, I got to, maybe I need to stop saying this, but as I get older, I start thinking about, you know, man, you know, I'm getting old.
I feel you,
I ain't gonna be around a long time.
Hey, you
and I want my kid, I want my family to be straight. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I'm making sure I'm going back, crossing I's and dotting T's and stuff, man, just to be able to know that things are going are on the up and up. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, man, that we have a lot of producers to this day, you still got producers that are not even registered with ASCAP. They don't even know what a writer society is,
it's crazy.
man. You know what I'm saying? And I think, that's a lack of, it's a lack of education in there, man, when it comes to that. So, of course, if you saying, so these three things that they need to have intact, that's foreign to a lot of producers.
Yeah, and that's why, like, the music education is a big piece. So, like I say, being a professor at Berkeley, the segue to, like, that's what I tell
Professor
my
Rhodes.
students. Yeah. So that, like, telling my students that, like, leading with, I try to simulate business situations, because you got these talented people that come up there and just, they like, I came from the quote musical streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, having to figure it out, this, that, and the third. Like, Berkeley is a great place, but their bubble is like, you don't really understand how vital business
they
is.
Green.
How this is.
They know how to play.
Yeah, you know how to play. You can be cold at stuff, but business, little things like that. Like, I make my students either, like, ASCAP is free now.
Yeah.
I make them sign up with this. I just to understand those things. And so it's cool to give it to students at Berkeley, that business, but I also enjoy, like, just giving people that, even before there was Berkeley, there was, just producers.
Right.
And there was, like, a lack of education. So now I'm telling you, you can't enjoy the art of this music until you understand the business. I hated it at first.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still learning things every day, especially in this ever evolving, ever changing industry.
Right.
Like, it's so tough. Like, we don't even know what's going on day to day. Like, so you're trying to figure things out. But what I do know is by having my publishing and my writer's numbers and my contacts in place, I'm talking about, I've been contacted from people from Sony to Amazon to NBC.
Yeah.
And it's like, they have to get with me on my writers and my publishing clearance.
Right.
And it's cool because it's like I self-publish, so they have to come to me.
Right.
And that's one of the levels of having your business in order. I'm sure it's me. I need to shake down some money from some other places too. But because it's always something that you like, but I definitely, my publishing, man, and those things are in order, and that's definitely like the writers, artists, and music producers 401k.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do this and you're not having anything else, like, that's the 401k, is having your publishing in order.
Yeah. Man, how did the whole Berkeley, how did that eventually even pop off, Jay?
Man, and this is another thing that people got a lot, like, doing things. It was a lot of things in the beginning, like, my career, what I would have loved for my career was to be directly in a Kanye session, or be directly in a Jigga session, or just be, not even just for placements, but those experiences.
Right.
I think though they would have been, I've been in some cool sessions. Don't get it twisted. But I just think constantly being in those sessions, like, if you think of initial dream for your career, I think that would have been great. I think, of course, more placements would have came from it, but just that kind of knowledge and that kind of energy consistently would have been great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, basically to have the Dr. Dre session that I explained to you happen daily or weekly would have been great. But anyway, I say that to say there are pivots that I took due to that, like, hey, well, I need to go in the back door. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, well, maybe, okay, yeah, I can get these placements, it's cool. Well, if this is not gonna happen, let me be a music educator. Let me do things on my own that I can control. And so, with writing the book, with, eventually, going on a book tour. Yeah. Initially, my first teaching job was at Media Tech.
Okay.
And so, that was cool for a second. I taught music business there. And, but then just through other things that I was doing, because I didn't get that direct access, I was like, hey, well, I know film, I know this. Before strong content creation came, I was like, man, let me do House of Beats, you know what I'm saying? And so we filmed that, partnered with Machine Masters at the time. And so getting to the point, I got invited in 2019 to Berkeley's Career Jam. And it wasn't because of my placements. It wasn't because of, some of the things directly musically related. It was because of the content and the IP that I created in House of Beats. Like my friend now, Professor Tim Hall is my boy, but at the time he was in the Berkeley Career Center. He saw this show. He was like, hey, we need to get people like this down to these students.
Wow.
Because Berkeley was like kind of evolving, and they were gonna go like, I'll get to that, but they were evolving in ways.
Yeah.
And so House of Beats got me down there at Career Jam.
Yeah.
And I just love the vibe. Like, I want to start exposing people from, you know, the inner city, just to things like Berkeley anyway. So, and I'm gonna get to that, but it's more like, I went to UNT and eventually ended up coming back to graduate. But when I went to UNT, they didn't have anything that spoke to me, but if I would have known that a Berkeley existed, at least that could have been an option.
Right.
Like, and I think now, you know, my daughter knows that a Berkeley exists and that's where she wants to go.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was up there and I was like, hey, I've heard of this, but seeing this is a place that I would like to be at, teach, because I was transitioning into things. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna produce forever, but some of these branches on my career tree, I would like to strengthen. So I can see myself teaching at Berkeley, especially when I stop just placement chasing and I'm doing a lot of other things. So anyway, that was 2019. Man, they had an extensive list of people that I got to, you know, meet and see.
Yeah.
Their alumni list is crazy. So it was cool.
Yeah.
And so a position opened up a few years later, and I was fit for it. They started a new major IRP, Independent Record Productions. And so it was like, I'm learning a lot. Like, it's one thing to master a thing. It's another thing to master teaching it. Professors at Berkeley are typically tenured. It's a place where people don't really leave. Some people have been up there 40 years.
Yeah.
I'm a baby. I've been up there a year and a half.
Yeah.
But it's humbling because, you know, we're learning a lot of things about the major. We're knowing, seeing how it's growing. And I think now, but it's been cool. It's been cool. It's been enriching.
Right.
I'm learning every semester. And now took a break this summer to kind of strengthen some things with some of the, you know, some of the curriculum, et cetera. But I'm very excited to come back in fall and just really, really dive into that even more.
Right.
But that was an opportunity that presented itself due to some of the things that I was creating and building my own brand.
Right.
And so by doing that, I kind of separated myself. And then I remember in my interview, it was like, I'm on a hiring board for IRP in Berkeley now, and it's an extensive process. So
really?
Now that I know how extensive the process is, for me to be hands down the best candidate at that time meant a lot. And I was only the best candidate due to all of the side roads that I had to travel.
Wow.
So it's cool. I really like it. It's a lot to learn. Like I say, I got a long way to go because teaching, it's like you're learning all the time. Like, you know, some students will really gravitate towards it. Some more. It's just like really trying to figure it out, and then you can't. It's like, but you get better every semester, and I think, like, you know, by the time I'm as tenured as some of my colleagues, it's just gonna be, you know, get better and better every semester. But I'm thankful to be there, and it's a blessing of opportunity.
My boy, Professor Rhodes.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's good. Man, something else that you mentioned too early on, man, just about how production and filming go together. I deem that to be true, bro.
Yeah.
Because like even with that's what I do. That's what I do for my church. I do the social media stuff.
Yeah.
But then I do all the filming for outside stuff that we have going on, man. And I love doing it. Mm-hmm. Like, I love doing this stuff, man. I love video editing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something. Well, of course it's artistic, but it's artistic, man. But I think that's a serious connection between producers when it comes to, you know, with producing and filming.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, man, let's talk about the director, Mr. Rhodes, Mr. J.Rhodes, the film producer, the filmographer, Mr. Rhodes, man. How did that? And I know it's always been there, but now that you're making movies and stuff, man, how did that all come about? And I know you got your man's Corey, that you run with too, man. But how did that all come about, bro?
Well, when I left DFW Airport, because that's where, you know, I learned. I was there for about 6 years. And what's funny is when I was at DFW Airport, I didn't even know about film, but the person that hired me, he was like, hey, music got me that job.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, you know, you worked a internship here, but if you know a music timeline, you can learn the film timeline. So I got on the job training and I learned how to do film, made a lot of videos that were in the terminals, etc. Probably all down now because that's before HD even hit, like, you know, just like to that degree. But anyway, when I left DFW Airport, I kind of had that film skill, specifically editing, but just the eye for it, but I wasn't using it.
Right.
And so when Corey hit me up, like he was filming and he wanted to do a documentary, but I was like, hey man, how about we shoot a series? And that's when we shot These Beats Ain't Free, I think. But getting to the point, it was more like...
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that,
was like,
the These Beats Ain't Free series.
Yeah, it was kind of like, to me, not on that level, but it was an Atlanta-themed show before Atlanta hit.
Yeah.
And of course, it was just not that, like, Donald Glover did his thing, one of my favorite shows.
Oh, yeah, he killed it.
But it was just saying that at least my wave...
That was your mindset.
My mindset was on something like
that. Hey, bro, as I'm thinking about it, as I'm going back thinking about that, it is kind of like that abstract kind of Atlanta kind of vibe that you had going on. Yeah, man.
And I didn't, like I said, I didn't even know until I saw Atlanta, but I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, dang, of course, because, they got the thought process, they got the money. So, of course, Atlanta, but it was just more, it's going to take off. But I was like, man, we own something because that's exactly how my mind was working.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, so anyway, but I was like, let me use this skill that I attained from this job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, that I'm no longer at. Let me just like help it like fully bring our content together.
Right.
And so like, Corey, he would edit too, but he would do a lot of the filming and I did a lot of the editing and we would just grow like film festivals. I know we would ABFF, we would do things like the Gentleman Jack film Reel to Reel Festival would come to Dallas and we would steal the show. And it was just real cool. And what's funny is within 8 months of us even filming These Beats Ain't Free, we were in the Viacom offices pitching the show to BET.
Wow.
And so that was one of the things where we thought it was, we was like, man, it was just cool to get that opportunity. So we celebrated and it was cool. But film is real cool and close to my heart now because like I say, all of these games have their things. You know what I'm saying? All we have to do is really figure out the distribution with film and it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But film has opened up a lot of doors and it's just so rewarding because it's one of those things where it takes a team, but at the end of the day, film is a talent dump for everything that you do.
Right.
And that's why I think it will forever be my favorite medium of art.
Yeah.
Because where music is great, it's just music. Film has music, it's visual.
It's a camaraderie of it all.
Of it all.
A collection of it
definitely.
all.
And it's beautiful. Like it's a slow cook process too.
Yeah.
When you're really shooting a movie and when you're doing something like that. So it's very rewarding. But yeah, that's kind of like the director roads. Like I really love that and I love having those projects come to life. So stay tuned for more films from J.Rhodes Productions.
Yeah. Man, Jay, if you could speak to the 20-year, you're 41 now. You could speak to the 20-year-old J.Rhodes. What advice would you give him now?
I would first say, I would tell him that I'm proud of him.
Yes.
For real, because Facebook memories show me, like I tell people that there's no secret to making it in this industry. Not really. It's just working on your craft, but even bigger than that, it's consistency and staying at it.
Yeah.
Every time I see a Facebook memory, it's either me working on something or it's an accomplishment from years ago.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, dang, that was that. Dang, on this day I was doing it. I rarely have a Facebook memory that typically isn't me either accomplishing something or working on something in my craft. And that's what it takes. And that's why I say when you amass all these things, I'm like, man, I dedicated myself to this.
Yeah.
And now, you start really, even more so reaping the benefits and et cetera. So I would say I'm proud of them. I would also say, because of course I wouldn't take anything back.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I would really say, take the time to invest in yourself more.
Yeah.
I think not that it was a mistake, but oftentimes because my dream was always to create a new age Motown in Dallas.
Wow.
So a lot of my pit stops, it helped me as a producer and as a leader and organizer of things, because I always was the leader of a crew. You know what I'm saying? 80s baby, or if it was a long time ago, it was a studio. Like it was things, I was part of some things, but I would always invest in artists that I thought could really do something. 'Cause you know, I have an all-around talent and skill set, but I've never focused on solely artistry.
Yeah.
But it was people that when they focused on solely artistry, I was like, man, let me stop doing what I'm doing and working on this album to put it in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, and unfortunately, and there's some things that I could have did better along the way too. I'm not just blaming it on that, but
Right.
and unfortunately, some of those things that I really invested in, they didn't work like I wanted it to because
Yeah.
I was, to me, investing in other people.
Right.
I would say at 41, I'm going to really, really take my own advice. But if I could tell the 20-year-old me to do something, it was with all the talents and skill sets that 20-year-old me had, really pour that fully back into your artistry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like, even if somebody, you know, because it's tough as an artist, like, I hear things musically, and sometimes, you know, you like your voice. It took me a while to even like my voice. But forget all that. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
more like, hey, bro, you know you're going to show up. You know you got a skill set. You can hone your skill set. You be the artist. It's been
Right.
less talented people that have done more
Right.
with less.
Right.
So invest in yourself, 20-year-old you,
Right.
and you could be a top-tier artist. You just got to believe in yourself.
Right.
Whether, you know, just continue to do that. But I always be like, man, I'm going to do this, but let me work with that artist. I'm going to do this,
Right.
but let me chase
Yeah,
this placement.
yeah.
So I would say I'm proud of you, but I also would tell 20-year-old me, especially when you're young, really, 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 and I did chase it a bit, you know, in essence, but I'm talking about really just be like, nah, my artistry, people gonna get it, and I'm gonna make them rock with it.
Right,
And so,
right.
like, at 41, once some things get cleared off my plate, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that when you think about 2 decades of doing that, could have
Right.
probably yielded
Yeah.
some different
Yeah,
results. So
yeah.
that's what I would say. Invest in yourself.
Man, you know, I think, you know, just as us being producers and beat makers, you know, producing is serving. You know, it's you're producing a product, whether it's you a musician or a farmer, whatever.
Yeah.
You're producing something to give to others. I think that's just naturally what we do, and in the process, we tend to forget about ourselves.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? We'll downplay ourselves. Well, nah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know, I'm gonna just stay in my lane. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just a beat maker, knowing that you got this other thing that you that has a possible to be great.
for sure.
But because we were like, nah. And then, like you say, in retrospect, you come back and be like, man, I should have been doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but I think that can, you know, that can be a blessing and courage for us, because, you know, we serve when we produce, and we serving the artists, you know what I'm saying, that way. But I think it is definitely good that, you know, we have a balance with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being able to invest in yourself, you know, just not even in your gifting, but even health wise.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Man, I you know, in the podcast me and my wife did, man, she was, cause I was asking, I said, baby, I said, you know, what are some things that frustrate you about me? And she was like, you know, it just seemed like you always put yourself on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to your health and stuff. Like, you know, I'm 47 now,
Yeah.
and in these last 3-4 years, I've been focusing on my health more than I ever been.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
for
saying? But
sure.
if I'd have been doing this 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying?
feel you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have all these certain things that I got to be
sure.
just constantly going to the doctor for, making sure, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's good too, man, that you would even tell your young self to invest in yourself early. What would you say to the producers that's watching this, man? What would be the encouraging words? You know, what would you say to these young bucks that's trying to get it?
Just stick to it. And also what you have to know is there really isn't a secret to it other than just continuing to move. And when it's your time, just take care of take your moment and make the most of your opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Just be prepared for your opportunity and it'll come. Like, there's no difference if you like what I do and you think I'm on a certain level that's above you. There's no difference between me and you. You know, like, as far as like being human and working towards something or whatever, like, yeah, it's nothing but hard work, me putting into my craft and dedicating myself to it. You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
You can do all the things that I'm doing and more. Just know that it is in you.
Right.
Know that you're doing it now too. I think people think that you have to get at a certain point where all of it matters in the whole scheme of things. Don't let people use you. And I think another thing too is you will get far in this game. Your no's will get you further than your yeses. Knowing what to say no to. Sometimes you're gonna think and don't have fear of missing out. Like, I think you have to dedicate yourself to knowing if it doesn't feel good almost on any level, that typically is something you shouldn't do. Just know what, like, don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's gonna be tough, but I think if you can really, really, really know what to say no to, then you'll be presented with a yes that can really be effective. And it's tough. It's not easy. I think if you're really in it to make money, go make an app, go invest in, not saying that you can't, because there's a lot of money in this too, but definitely do it because you love it.
Right.
There's so many different ways to make $1. And music oftentimes is tougher to get to. Once you get there, some cool stuff, but you know, like, do it because you love it. Know that there's a place for you. And I also say, like, don't be afraid. Like, it's a balance between being humble and then, like, but at the same time, know it's okay to want yours.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get in situations or whatever, like, where like people can make you think you're, you know what I'm saying, tripping because you know what you want. And you know what I'm saying? And it's okay, like, as long as you're not a self-serving person, et cetera, and if you know who you are and you know your goals, it's okay to want to be in that position. And you need to surround yourself with people that know you can be in that position as well. It's a lot of tidbits that I give to them, and of course I can go all day on that too.
Yeah.
But I think if it's something, a couple of things to walk away with, know that it's in you. Like, as long as you keep moving towards your goal, you're gonna reach it. And as you start reaching your goals, be okay with definitively saying no to things that don't serve you. Don't hope that you can say yes and it can serve you. Most things that serve you will feel like something that will serve you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Rarely have I done something that said, oh, well, maybe this, it never happened.
Yeah, right.
Rarely. Like, let the stuff feel good, like, you know, up front.
Yeah.
And then if it takes a turn, then that's unfortunate. But really comb through the situations and know what serves you. And so if something doesn't serve you, figure out a way to be your own boss in as many ways as possible. Like, maybe, you know, for some people, especially up and coming, if I was an up and coming producer, because I came in a different industry, I would create a lot of content.
Yeah.
Because if I came in the industry when it was like that, that's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
And that way you can be your own artist, you can build your own brand, you can do some things, and you have so much more control. Man, it's a lot of things to say, but definitely, like, just don't be afraid to say no. I think that energy would get you further than just being a yes man.
Yeah. That's some good stuff for me to hear. For real, man. Real quick, man. So we got the book coming. The book is coming soon.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you say you got to do one more proofread.
Yeah.
We got the King of Dallas movie.
Yes, sir.
That you should be getting the word on today.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, man, we got going on that we want that you can share?
Man, like I say, when it's King of Dallas, and that's gonna be a big, great press run. Then it's gonna be These Beats Ain't Free Too, These Dreams Ain't Free. That's gonna be a whole thing, which probably will take me into the end of the year. Definitely for all of the fans and the people that's been waiting, I promise House of Beats Season 2 is coming. The reason that was delayed was because, you know, swinging for the fences to get it on the network, but through several different things, I made some mistakes. There's a lot of sample clearance issues that won't be happening on Season 3. So we just gonna get Season 2 out. There's a lot of people that, you know, came down here, invested their time in it.
Yeah.
And I understand them. You know, they've been very patient, and I'm thankful.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've been hitting me like, hey, what's up? You know, not even, but I feel you. Like, I'm not that, Nah, they told they're a family, and I get it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I told them to be patient because I
Yeah.
gotta edit it.
Yeah.
But it's coming, so
Yeah.
that's the one.
Man, I think I was supposed to be on season 2.
Yeah, potentially like you was going. I think
yeah.
you at least maybe you laced us with a sample pack. But yeah, I wanted you to be on season 2. But there's more seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get that out for the people. You never, not just the people that were contestants, but every day. I think every day may be a stretch, but so often, very often, man. People, House of Beast, House of Beast. It was a great show. It is a great show.
Yeah, it is.
It was done from the heart.
Yeah.
Like, and it was the first of its kind.
Right.
And since it's done from the heart, like I think it really has that energy that the heads love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or that the people that in the producer community love.
Yeah.
So like that one is close to my heart. And so is King of Dallas in the book. But I think that's a good trifecta. I think King of Dallas, These Beats Ain't Free Volume 2, and then House of Beats Season 2, which are all different IPs and entities, like big ideas, big thoughts that take a lot of energy to produce. But those 3 things, that would be a great rest of the year. You know, that would be a stupendous year with, Grammy wins, like, teaching, like having my first commencement, being around that at Berkeley, working on a lot of, like that would be, I think my career year, it's already probably my best career year already. Yeah. But I think those 3 things, once it happened, it'll be a year for the record books.
Wow.
Like, if I can do all those things and then have those 3 things released, it'll be definitely a blessing.
Well, man, I'm here for it, bro. I'm here for it. Man, tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
Man, just simply, my government name on Facebook. Yeah, maybe it tells my age, but I be on the Facebook, man. So Justin Rhodes, and then so you can hit me there, and then like Instagram at J_RHODES. You can hit me there. I thread once every week, so if you kind of want to hear a thought, I may start threading more.
I'm trying to get into the whole thread.
Yeah, it's like, Twitter-esque.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so many social medias, and I'm so like trying to really figure out the social media presence I want to dive into. Yeah. But I definitely has to be me. But anyway, you can reach me there at J_Rhodes, Instagram, and every now and then I think I say a funny thing or 2 on Threads. Yeah. And that's it. I got some other social medias, but those are the ones I'm active on. So you can reach me there. TheseBeatsAintFree.com. Haven't made an update to the site in a while, but I will do that soon. That's it. And I'm not too hard to reach. I try to answer everybody that I can. I'm pretty good with that. So.
Wow. Well, Jay, man, I thank you for being on the show, man.
This has been
another Showlab Producer Podcast, man. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. And, man, I hope this has been a blessing to you guys. All right? It's your boy, More for More Beats, J.Rhodes. We out of here.
We out.
Peace.
My brother, thank you for having me, dog.
My man.
Already, man. I hope I hope that'll be cool for you.
Yeah, man.